Good afternoon. There'll be no early easing of lockdown in England. In the next few hours, the new Health Secretary, Sajid Javid, is expected to confirm the country is on course for Freedom Day on July the 19th, but not before. As for his predecessor, today the Prime Minister said it was right that Matt Hancock resigned after he breached COVID rules, despite backing him to stay just 24 hours earlier. Here's our political correspondent, Carl Dimon.
The Prime Minister started his day in a paint factory where he gave the broad brush impression that restrictions in England would end in July.
We're very likely to be in a position on July the 19th to say that that really is the terminus, and we can go back to life as it was before COVID as far as possible.
Congratulations. Thank you so much.
The new Health Secretary, making his first hospital visit in the job ahead of a common statement, made clear he wants restrictions lifted.
Right here and now, that is my absolute priority. I want to see those restrictions lifted as soon as we can, as quickly as possible. In terms of the roadmap to that, you'll have to wait for my statement to Parliament later today.
Irreversible is...
It's going to be irreversible. There's no going back.
That sounded slightly more bullish than Matt Hancock had been. His departure is still a matter of debate. The Prime Minister, who declared the matter closed on Friday before accepting the resignation on Saturday, was asked why he didn't fire Mr Hancock.
Well, I read the story on Friday, and we've got a new Health Secretary in post on Saturday, and I think that's about the right pace to proceed in a pandemic.
There are also questions about how CCTV images from a Cabinet Minister's private office ended up in the Sun, and now whether Mr Hancock had been using his private email account for government business.
The canoodling that went on in his office is one thing, but using your private email puts national security at risk, and potentially, depending on what was in those emails, could be very serious for the government.
Perhaps of greater significance is what approach the new Health Secretary takes to easing restrictions, reforming the NHS and fixing social care. Carl Dimon, ITV News.
A new study has shown that mixing vaccines is just as effective as using 2 doses of the same vaccine. The research looked at both Pfizer and AstraZeneca, and our health editor, Emily Morgan, is here. Emily, is this likely to actually change anything?
Well, this is really good news, but probably won't change anything immediately. What this does really do is offer flexibility to the government if it needs to change the vaccine scheduling programme. And mixing vaccines is nothing new. In many cases, in fact, they work better if they are mixed. So in this study, they found that mixing Pfizer and Oxford AstraZeneca generates a really good immune response. And in fact, giving the AstraZeneca one first and then Pfizer gives a better outcome than doing it the other way around, Pfizer and then AstraZeneca. And what this really means is that if there is a supply issue with one of those vaccines, the government can offer another, or if there's a massive safety issue with one of them, again, they can offer the other for a second dose. They're also looking at Moderna and Novavax, and those results will come very soon. The Oxford team also gave some good results on a booster jab if we need it. Their jab would offer really good immune response 6 months after the second one. So some really good news from the Oxford team today.
Thanks for that update, Emily. New restrictions have been announced for British tourists arriving at some overseas holiday destinations. Portugal will now enforce a 14-day quarantine on arrival for visitors from the UK who aren't fully vaccinated. Meanwhile, unvaccinated visitors to the Balearic Islands will have to show proof of a negative PCR test. A small explosion happened beneath a South London railway station this afternoon. Emergency services were already at an industrial unit in Elephant and Castle responding to a fire. Police say it's not thought to be terror-related. And Nissan will create 2,000 jobs with a new battery factory in the northeast of England. It will produce power cells for the company's electric cars. Finally, after a year's break, the crowds returned to Wimbledon today, and in true Wimbledon style, the rain came back too. There was a ray of sunshine, though, in the shape of young Brit Jack Draper, and Martha Fairley is at the All England Club. Martha, what have we seen so far?
Well, it almost feels like the Wimbledon of old is back. The crowds, the centre court cheers, and guess what? It's just started raining again. Fans are excited to be here, although because of COVID restrictions, we're only at 50% capacity today. And everyone has to show proof of a negative test or that they've been double jabbed before they can enter. This afternoon, all eyes have been on centre court, under the roof. The opening match there has just finished between defending champion and world #1 Novak Djokovic and British wildcard entry 19-year-old Jack Draper, who was making his Wimbledon main draw debut. There was plenty for the crowds to cheer about as Draper made an incredible start, taking the first set 6-4. But Djokovic just stepped up a gear to take the second set in less than half an hour, before also taking the third and fourth, making it a comfortable 3-1 victory. Meanwhile, rain means the majority of matches on the outside courts have been cancelled today, including British #1 Dan Evans. But there will be more British action with Andy Murray on centre court later this afternoon.
Martha at Wimbledon, thank you. And staying at Wimbledon, NHS staff and developers of the coronavirus vaccines were given a standing ovation from the centre court crowd. Dame Sarah Gilbert, the woman who designed the Oxford AstraZeneca jab, was among those in the royal box, as well as frontline workers. And that is all for now. Julie will be here with the news at the later time of 10:25 after the football. From me and all the team, goodbye.